One, two, three, four. Come on, come on.
Listen up, son. If you're having trouble, maybe I should call my plumber.
One, two, three, four, five, six. Come on, come on. One, two, three, four. Let's go.
Man, oh man. Matt, I got a thought. After the fight, maybe you can get DK's autograph for me. Can you do that, Mac?
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Come on, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. Fight. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Come on, come on.
You can always take a whooping. Stand on top. Take it all in, kid. Remember what this feels like, baby. One, 2, 3, 4. Come on, come on. Hey, baby, maybe your next challenger will be a contender. Who knows? Can you believe it? Your friend's worse than Glass Joe. You can always take a whooping.
One, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, kid, 2 more losses and it's all over. Go out fighting, baby. Never, never give up. Listen, son, we've come a long way. One mistake and it's all over. It's all about heart. I know you have it.
Aha! J'ai gagné!
Listen, son, you've had a great career. I'm proud of you, kid. You're still the champion in my book. Good job, son. Good job.
Fight! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Knockout!